During the most pivotal week, actually 2 weeks for crypto in the US, and we're going to get over to this massive week ahead. Both Russia and China have opened up the floodgates yet again for crypto. So we need to forget about the noise for a moment. The space is developing very quickly, very rapidly. But before we get into this tweet here, what I want to do is just show you what's going on today in the charts. You can see market cap 1.09 trillion, Bitcoin's down 1%, Ethereum 1.8%. Quite a lot of red here. And if we bring up the banter bubbles, the whole chart is still bleeding. This has been going on for quite a while now. I don't need to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, but Bitcoin 25,815. It'd be nice if it was back at 28,000. That's definitely where it needs to get to short term. Going to be a very, very, very volatile week with these upcoming announcements that are happening today and throughout the week. Ethereum 1732. Like to see that back above 1800 very shortly. Last 24 hours it did come close, but it has fallen down since. It looks like OBS has disconnected. Hopefully we're still live. Let us know in the chat if we are. Monday, a deadline for Binance and Binance US to respond to SEC application for a temporary restraining order. There we go. OBS is back in action. Let us know if you can hear us, guys. Tuesday, a motion for a temporary Binance US restraining order hearing. So that'll be interesting whether they freeze Binance US's assets or not. That will put a lot of downward pressure back onto the market again, create a lot of FUD, which is fear, uncertainty, and doubt. The Hinman documents released. For a lot of people waking up watching this video, this is huge for XRP. And this is what a lot of the case is pivoting on. If these Hinman documents come out and they vote in favor, XRP is going to rally hard. And I wonder if it's already rallying with upcoming expectations. Not yet. We will see what happens there. If it's favorable, it's probably going to have a short-term pump. But there's a whole lot more going on. And this is what it really comes down to, the CPI data release. With that, if inflation is below 4.1%, we probably won't get a rate cut on Wednesday. Reading over all of Jerome Powell's words, he hasn't ruled it out, even though the market is pricing it out. And we can see that here, 76.9% probability that we get a 0% interest rate hike. Only 23% think that we will. So if we get an interest rate hike, it is going to be absolutely insane. We're going to see more red. So short term, you need to find out whether you're a trader, short-term trader, long-term investor, and you can play both, but just definitely have a plan. Obviously, the video is not financial advice. Good morning to everyone in the chat. Jim, CLF, good to see you. So depending on that CPI data, if it's low, no US rate hike. If it's high, it's going to be wild, to say the least. Short term, very noisy. Hopefully, we get a 0% interest rate hike. And then the other thing on Wednesday is the FOMC statement. And what that comes down to there is if they're going to let us know what their plans are sort of for the remainder of the year. And hopefully they're favorable for crypto short term. Thursday, ECB Rate Decision, Jobless Claims, retail sales. Friday, we've got the Eurozone CPI, Michigan consumer sentiment, Michigan inflation expectations. All of these things all in 1 week. Huge catalyst with Binance, Coinbase being sued. Everything that's going on with Binance today in court. It's going to be wild. A lot of volatility in the market. Great for traders. Long-term investors, don't worry about it. Just remember this. If we get an interest rate hike, the markets more than likely are going to go down because nobody is pricing it in at the moment. Will Clemente, before we get into what's going on with Russia, because it's absolutely insane. More floodgates are happening. A lot of favorable regulation around the world. This is what Will Clemente has to say about Operation Choke Point 2.0. Obviously, it's been very effective with what's going on over in the US, and it's pushing people overseas. And it is what it is. DEX volumes are relative to SEX are at an all-time high. Tether at all-time high in USDC down 50%. Offshore volumes near all-time high at 86%. In the end, capital and activity will just move offshore and on-chain, ultimately giving the US government less oversight. Maybe that's what they actually want, because for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. They are very smart people. I'm not saying they're guided in the right direction. They've taken a little bit of a misstep. But if they can, they know what's happening. They are pushing it out overseas. Is that their intention? Maybe, maybe not. I think it's just caused them a bit of a headache, really, and they've had enough of all these crypto scams. Now, Russia. This is amazing. Russia, big country. Obviously, they want to avoid or be able to get around the sanctions as well. And their biggest bank will allow crypto trading this summer. The largest banking institution in Russia by asset value, Sberbank, let me know if I said that right, will reportedly enable private investors to buy and sell digital currencies in the following weeks. If we talk about individuals, then in the second quarter, we believe in June, this function will open for individuals. Individuals will have the opportunity to buy digital financial assets and sell them accordingly, exchange them for cash. Don't know if they'll be able to move it into a private wallet or not. That'll be very interesting to be able to see if they can take custody or it needs to stay within their bank account. It is worth noting that the bank prepared a special scoring assessment for its customers before releasing the option. That move ensures that users consciously make an investment decision, understanding the existing risks. There, companies will be able to make their first transaction on our blockchain platform 1 month from now. We're just starting our work with digital assets, realizing that further development requires adaptation of the current regulatory framework. To do that, we are ready to work closely with the regulator and executive bodies. They're moving forward. They're doing it systematically. They understand regulation exists. They need to work within the framework of the law in their jurisdiction, in their country. They'll do everything right because they can see the liquidity, the benefit to their bank as a business. And to be able to gain anything of value in life, you need to be able to provide value to someone else. If a bank's opening up crypto in Russia to Russian citizens, that's providing a lot of value. A lot of people are going to come in. Great narrative for the bull run after the halving 2024. Something I'm very excited about. This is going to play out. Both Russia and China are going to play a huge narrative next year after the halving. This is a great little GIF. This is the hash rate, and it just goes through. I've put it below in the description for you. I just thought that was an awesome pictogram of how price follows hash rate or hash rate follows price. It's pretty interesting. It just keeps going up and up and up. Even if it varies and goes off course, it catches up very quickly and then you don't even notice it. You can see that here as it keeps going up. It only goes up to 2021, no further, 2022. There we go. Now, A16Z, Andreessen Horowitz is expanding to the UK. We plan to open our first international office in London later this year, and we'll host the next crypto startup school there is in 2024. Understand there's a lot of fear in the market at the moment, but it's actually a very exciting time. When we have a look at the charts here, especially Bitcoin, Ethereum, even Ethereum at 1900, Bitcoin at 28,000, 30,000. Everyone's like, oh, I wish I bought it when it was cheaper. And this is not advice. It's come down. Are you going to stack up more like you said you would, or are you just going to sit it out on the sidelines, see what happens this week with all this information that's coming out? It's going to be exciting. But where we are in this stage of the cycle, usually this is a good time to be able to stack up a little bit more. You need to do you. Definitely very exciting thing to be watching, though. Now, going on with A16Z, this is a statement from the UK Prime Minister, Rishi. As we cement the UK's place as a science and tech superpower, we must embrace new innovations like Web3. They get it. Powered by blockchain technology, which will enable startups to flourish here and grow the economy. That success is founded on having the right regulation and guardrails in place to protect consumers and foster innovation. They just don't want to be seen to be doing the wrong thing. They don't want their citizens the community, their investors to get wrecked, because there are a lot of scams, unfortunately, in this space. Regulation, they're probably always going to go a little bit too far, more than what we want, but it is coming to the space. And if the UK can get it right, absolutely fantastic. While there's still work to do, I'm determined to unlock opportunities for this tech and turn the UK into the world's Web3 center. UAE also wants this. Singapore wants this. Hong Kong wants this. It's a fight, and it's FOMO to be able to control Web3, to be that hub of innovation. This is exciting for the space long term, and the US at some stage is going to have to pivot for sure. That's why, and obviously my opinion, that part, that's why I'm thrilled. World leading investor A16Z has decided to open their first international office in the UK, which is a testament to our world-class unis and talent in our strong competitive business environment. CoinDesk reporting on it. A16Z choose London as destination for first office outside the US. Venture capital giant A16Z chose London as the site for its first office outside the US, saying the UK government is willing to create policies that encourage startups to pursue decentralization. A16Z, capital allocator, obviously they want to be able to get into these startup companies. They want proper regulation. Money's going to move where it is welcome, where there is a return on investment or a potential return on investment without regulatory uncertainty coming into the space. This is their post on the A16Z website. Over the last year, it has become clear that blockchains and the software movement around them, usually called crypto or Web3, can only succeed with clear regulatory regime that provides an open pathway for startups while also protecting consumers from fraud and manipulation. This regulation should be aimed at stamping out the casino culture that has developed around crypto. There is a bit of a casino culture. My money, my choice. If I want to gamble, that's fine. I can go to the casino and gamble. Why can't I do it online? But I get the sentiment because a lot of people do get scammed, while also allowing constructive applications to reach their full potential. If we can get rid of the casino culture, it is going to allow builders to build proper projects, programs, development, games. We have been working with policymakers and regulators across the globe, and during our discussions, it has become clear that the UK government sees the promise of Web3, unlike certain jurisdictions around the world. UK authorities are also willing to work with the industry. They're willing to work with them, not just enforcement through regulation. UK authorities willing to work with industry to create policies that incentivize startups to pursue decentralization. More specifically, the UK policymakers and regulators are taking an approach that is uniquely tailored to blockchain and digital asset regulation. This includes, before we get into this list, there's 5 dot points. Hit the like button, hit subscribe. Natalie Brunel will be here Thursday for Americans, Friday for Australians. Same time, today's Tuesday, 3 days time. Make sure you tune in for that one. I'll get to the comments in a second. So this is what this includes: working constructively with industry to identify the unique attributes of blockchain technology and how those attributes shape the risk profile of decentralized services versus centralized services. So laying the foundation for future applications, blockchain tech, putting forth an innovative sandbox approach to regulation. Innovative approach to regulation. That's what we need to see. New space, new technology. They're going to have to change the laws. The old world didn't work for the internet, for mobile phone. Natural progression. And if you don't move forward, if you're not growing, you're dying. So the UK is getting it right for a bureaucracy. At the end of the day, like I said, it's not always going to be as good as what we want, but it's going to be better than what we have. And it allows A16Z, big capital allocators, liquidity to come into the market. So it is what it is. At the end of the day, long term, it's going to allow the space to develop going forward, focusing on outcome-based approach, all the while continuing to keep consumer protection front and center of any regulation. Most important there, how weird's that Y looking? I don't know if you can see it on the screen. Side note, now, Crossius on Twitter, shout out. Thank you very much. I'm not sure if I can share this or not, but it's an absolutely amazing graph, and I appreciate you letting me use it in hindsight. These yearly deficits, this is talking about the US. deficits, the money, they don't just disappear when the ball drops on New Year's Eve. A deficit is actually just the 1 year change to the national debt. Deficit spending is each incremental year's addition to the massive hole that is the US national debt. Viewing this data in terms of how it accumulates year over year creates a considerably scary image than your routine 1 trillion annual deficit ritual. Have a look at this. So the US national debt, 1940, it starts on the chart here. That's on the left. 2020 on the right, going up to 2022, and you can see it is just straight down, touching nearly 32 trillion in deficits, compounding, absolutely insane. Had a look at the band of bubbles, not changing much. Hex ecosystem has been absolutely smashed since launch, not going well. Will it come back strong in the bull market? If there's any hexicans watching the replay, let us know your thesis in regards to that. I am very interested. Bank of China, wow, absolutely wow. This is cool. This is really, really cool. They're really getting it. They're using their technology for what it's good for. Bank of China's BOCI issues tokenized securities on the Ethereum network in Hong Kong. BOCI issued tokenized securities on Ethereum. They offered CNH 200 million, which is 28 million, as structured notes with Swiss banking giant UBS, massive banking giant, Swiss banking giant, world global banking giant, underwriting the issuance and placing with clients in Asia Pacific. This was the first time a Chinese financial institution issued tokenized securities on a public blockchain in Hong Kong. Major banks like Citigroup and Bank of America have predicted that this tokenization of real-world assets, RWAs, an umbrella term for traditional financial products, TradeFi products such as notes and bonds, can boost crypto adoption and drive trillions of dollars in value to blockchains. I just want to say, if you're here through the bull market, you're early, well done. Don't get shaken out. Obviously, have your own plan, stick to it. But this is the time where you can get some amazing opportunities, really set yourself up. For me, it worked in 2019, 2020 during COVID, which was very exciting time. A lot of fear in the market, as Warren Buffett says, be greedy when others are fearful, fearful when others are greedy. Maybe the whole space goes away. My opinion is it won't. It's only going to get stronger and stronger from here. Going over to CoinDesk, talking about Hong Kong lawmakers inviting CoinDesk so we're on the CoinDesk website. We're talking about Coinbase with the Hong Kong lawmakers inviting them to apply to operate in the region amidst US SEC crackdown. My apologies. It is 6 in the morning here, and I am getting a little bit tongue twisted. So the company is excited to expand globally and wants to build in Abu Dhabi, Canada, and Singapore. Hong Kong lawmaker invited global virtual asset trading operations, including crypto exchange Coinbase, to come and register in the region. Now, this is a tweet. We covered this the other day, but I think it's worth going over again. I hereby offer an invitation to welcome all global virtual asset trading operators, including Coinbase, to come to Hong Kong for application of official trading platforms and further development plans. Hong Kong Legislative Council member Johnny NG said in a tweet on Saturday, NG's invite comes amid the US crackdown. Operation Choke Point 2.0, that's put a stranglehold on the industry, on crypto exchanges Binance and Coinbase, which have both been sued recently by the SEC for allegedly violating federal security laws. Some ways they have, some ways they haven't. Obviously, the laws are pretty misguided and they haven't adapted to the crypto space. So maybe out of the Binance, the Coinbase drama, we will get proper clarity in the US, and then the space over in the US can flourish. It's going to be interesting. It's going to take a long time to play out. Anyway, Brian Armstrong, Coinbase CEO, said in April that his company would consider moving out of the US if there continues to be no regulatory clarity around how crypto is treated, something which the company has been pushing for. So we want to see clarity for sure. Bank of China, we touched on this here, 28 million digital structured notes on the Ethereum blockchain. What I want to highlight here is the securitized tokens are governed by Hong Kong and Swiss law, doing it legally through regulation, and they're working with both Hong Kong and Sweden to be able to bring this out. This is where the space is heading. It is very exciting going forward. Obviously, June 1st, they came out saying companies can register. And then 2 weeks later, Joseph, Under Secretary for Financial Services in the Treasury for the government of Hong Kong, stated that the special administrative region is actively participating in the blockchain industry and aims to establish a framework for stablecoin regulation within 1 year. That's also what we want to see. Stablecoins play a huge part in the liquidity of the crypto ecosystem. And Warren Davidson, if you're in the US, you've probably already seen this. Today, I filed the SEC Stabilization Act to restructure the SEC Gov and fire Gary Gensler. Hashtag fire Gary Gensler is trending. That's why this has come up through my feed. US capital markets has been protected from a tyrannical chairman. They must be protected, including the current one. It's time for real reform to fire Gary Gensler as chair of the SEC. Warren Davidson, US capital markets must be protected from a tyrannical chairman, including the current one. That's why I'm introducing legislation to fix ongoing abuse of power and ensure protection that is in the best interest of the market for years to come. It's time for real reform to fire Gary Gensler as chair of the SEC. If we get someone else in there, is it really going to matter? That's what I'd be most interested in. And then the last thing I want to show you here, Natalie Brunel, live on Friday. Make sure you hit subscribe. And one of the things that Jim's saying in the comments is time to put up or shut up. Absolutely agree. Pivotal week. It's going to be absolutely exciting. Hit subscribe. We'll keep you informed with the news, with the fast facts. Have an epic day. Be blessed. Peace.